Hey everyone, welcome back to Little Acre Farm. I took a break for about 3 months and came back to so many new subscribers, so for a lot of you, this is your first new video from me, and that's so cool. Thanks for hanging out with me. I am so glad you're here. What are we doing today? Well, first of all, we're doing something I always said I would never do, and that is making barbecue sauce. More on why I said I'd never can condiments later. The recipe is in the description if you'd like to follow along. I do need to say this is not a USDA tested recipe, so if that makes you squeamish, that's okay. There's a ball tested recipe available as well. The recipe that I'm using is very similar to the ball recipe and uses leftover candied jalapeno brine from a tested recipe, so I'm not worried about it. Also, it's ridiculously delicious. Second, I want to talk about something that's been rattling around in my tired brain for months now, and that's work ethic and the work worth doing. Today is a very special day. It's my first official day of maternity leave. Now, as you can see, I'm obviously still very pregnant, so no baby boy yet. But I hit a point where I just couldn't keep working anymore. This got me thinking about what I've given up over the past few months in an effort to keep working, to keep producing at my day job. Before I went on leave, I was very worried about not working. I didn't know what I would do with myself, not work, not sell my only capital, my labor hours for 40 hours a week. People don't do that. People work. That's just like what humans do, right? Well, Teddy Roosevelt said, "Far and away, the best prize that life offers is the chance to work hard at work worth doing." And I feel like I've finally, after almost 32 years, gotten a taste of that prize. Over the past few months, I've had to give up a lot to keep focusing on my day job, to keep working. My job isn't, physically demanding, but it is a mentally and emotionally taxing job. That in combination with having a high-risk pregnancy has left me completely drained at the end of every day. I've been exhausted and anxious, and something had to give because I couldn't do everything. What gave were my two creative outlets, writing and this channel. So for months I was struggling with this. I felt lazy, unproductive, broken. I would try to write and I was just too tired. I couldn't get any ideas down on paper. I would try to get out in the garden, but being in the Georgia heat was too much for me. And I had to go back indoors. I couldn't really record videos because it was hard to talk and to keep up with the act of making videos. That means that for months, I haven't been able to do the work that is worth doing, and it threw my mental health out of whack. But as soon as I logged out of work last Thursday, it was like a fog lifted. I let myself sleep in late the next day. I took a bubble bath. I wrote and I gardened and I canned and I cleaned. I finally had not only the time, but the energy to focus on my priorities. I've always said that I'm a person first, then a parent, then a partner, then a bunch of other important things like a writer and a homesteader, and way, way down at the bottom of the list, I'm an employee. Everything comes before work for me because all of those things are more important. I prioritize myself and my family and my goals over any job because those things are what matter to me. I'm so glad that the last season of my life is over. The season where I was too tired to prioritize anything but my day job was terrible. I've been accused of having poor work ethic because of feeling this way. I've been told that sometimes you just have to work late and miss family events because there's work that needs to be done. And that is sinister. I work exceptionally hard at work that I view as worthy of my attention and time, like this barbecue sauce. I used to think that making my own condiments and canning them wouldn't be worth my time or effort. I thought they'd take too long to make and that they wouldn't be as good or comparable to store-bought. And boy, was I wrong. This barbecue sauce is exceptional. It's spicy, a little sweet, delicious, and it uses up the leftover candied jalapeno brine I had, so nothing is going to waste. I also know what's in it. I did use store-bought tomato products because my tomato harvest failed this year, but that's okay. Next year when I need to make another batch, hopefully I can use some home canned tomato sauce. It was worth the work to make a better product than what I could buy in the store and to use all of my leftover brine and to keep 10 plastic bottles of Sweet Baby Ray's out of the landfill. And now that I know how easy it was to make this, I want to try other sauces too and keep doing more work that is worth doing. I want to work. And I want to be clear, it might be coming across like I don't view my day job as worth my time or my energy, and that's not the case. But my time and energy stops being dedicated to my job when I log out. And that is the time at which I can focus on the work that I do view as more worth my time and more worth my effort and more worthy of my attention. Things like canning, gardening, and being with my family. Now, there's still this nagging voice in the back of my head that tells me I'm failing at my job because I'm on leave, or that if I don't stay late and put in 60 hours, I'm going to get fired. This too is sinister. And it stems from America's skewed concept of what work is supposed to be, or the Protestant work ethic. Before I get into this, I want to say that I'm not demonizing any religion or denomination. Protestant work ethic is a concept in theology, sociology, economics, and history that I find really interesting. I'm not going to get too far into the philosophy of the Protestant work ethic because it's a really complex topic and I could talk about it for hours. But instead, I linked a couple videos below if you want to learn more. But basically, the concept of the Protestant work ethic says that worldly work is our duty that benefits both individuals and the holistic society. It sounds good on the surface, right? Do the work that is worth doing to benefit yourself and your community. I fully support that mentality, and I do my best to embody it. However, there's more to the story. The act of laboring became viewed as a sign of grace, of salvation. What inevitably followed was the ostracization and punishment of anyone who displayed idle, unproductive behaviors. While this movement really, kicked off in the 16 to 1700s, we're still feeling its effects today. Hustle culture is one example. Every spare minute of your time must be spent chasing money through side hustles, otherwise you're going to fail. There's also the buzzword quiet quitting. I dislike this term so much. Employers view quiet quitting as laziness or as nobody wants to work, but the reality is that employees who are quiet quitting are enforcing healthy, necessary boundaries between their day jobs and whatever else they prioritize in their lives. And then finally, they're self-policing. So since the invention of the modern clock, time has shifted from a natural process to a commodity that we buy and sell through capitalism, with every minute of our productive labor being assigned a monetary value. And remember, Protestant work ethic equates economic success with virtue and salvation. It's deeply ingrained in capitalism, and thus in the American mind, that if we aren't working our hardest 100% of the time while we're on the clock and sometimes off of it, we aren't producing enough. We aren't being productive enough. So we fall into this endless cycle of self-policing where we force ourselves to do more, feel unfulfilled, do more, feel unfulfilled, ad infinitum. My goal for the coming season is to unsubscribe from this mentality, to slow down, to focus on the work that's worth doing, like writing and gardening and canning and caring for my growing family. My day job will always be here because there is always work to be done, but the work that's worth doing is right here on my little farm with my little family. What work is worth doing for you? If you made it this far, thanks for sticking around. Do you like these kinds of videos? My video on perfectionism and carrot harvesting is one of my most viewed garden videos, so I figured maybe this format is well received. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you like this style of video, tell me what other topics you'd like to hear about. Thanks for stopping by Little Acre Farm and subscribing. I'll see you again very soon.